Welcome to the Sales Influence Podcast, where we talk about finding the why in how people buy. I'm your host, Victor Antonio. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for lending me your ears. Today, I want to talk about how do we motivate people. How do we get people to buy our product or service? How do we nudge them? Remember, we don't push, we nudge. How do we do that? Well, there's several ways you can do it. Let's walk through them. The first one is that you highlight, let's say you're selling a product, you highlight, or a service, you highlight the features of your product or your service. Here's what we offer that's different. Here's what you can do. Here are the bells and whistles. Really highlight the features. Let's call that level 1 selling. Let's move up to level 2. Level 2 selling is that you move beyond the features and you talk about the outcome. Here are the benefits, the outcome that you're going to get. In other words, by using this feature, here's the outcome. Here are the things you want to accomplish. Here are the things you'll be able to do. Here are the things you want to do that will make you more successful, that will help you increase revenue, reduce costs, expand market share. These are the outcomes, the benefits of using our product or our service. That's level 2 selling. Now, level 3 selling, the highest level of selling, in my opinion, begins with provoking. Here's a good word, provoking the customer into really thinking about not changing. Oh, let me say that again. How do we provoke somebody about them not changing? And the only way to provoke somebody, why they're not changing, in order to make them change, is by highlighting for them or to them what they're missing out on, how they're losing money, how they're losing market share, how their costs are spiraling out of control. We need to make people uncomfortable. Ernest Dichter, marketing genius from the 50s, said, we have to make people constructively discontent in order to make them buy. Now listen to that phrase. We have to make them constructively discontent in order to buy. Now, what he is saying in today's language is he's using the philosophy or the theory of loss aversion, is that people will run away faster from pain than they will towards gain. So in other words, we have to make them uncomfortable or discontent with their current situation. In other words, the pain of the same has to be greater than the pain of change. Let me say that again. This is important. The pain of the same, the pain of staying the same, has to be greater than the pain of change. The question is, how do you create this pain of the same? Well, your job as a salesperson is to really highlight to the customer what they're missing out on, what they're losing. Now think about this. Instead of talking about just features and benefits, what if we take a different approach? What if we tell the customer, the prospect, this is what you're missing out on. This is what you're not able to do. This is what your competitors are doing that you're not doing. This is where you're losing market share. This is where you're hemorrhaging money. This is where you're losing those close deals. This is why your average deal size is not that high. This is why your sales cycles are so long, so forth and so on. And if you can create that sense of pain that's greater than staying the same, then you win. So the pain of staying the same has to be so painful that people want to change. The pain of the same has to be so painful that they're going to want to change. The reason most people don't change is because, you know what? I'm uncomfortable, but, it's okay. Yeah, I could be making more, but, I'm good. Yeah, we could find a better supplier, better vendor. You probably are one, but, we're happy with the one we got right now. Because to them, the pain of change is too great. But when you talk about the pain of the same, the status quo, staying the same and not changing, and what it's really costing them, now you're really pitching your product or service. Now you're going to the heart. You're hitting the emotional center of the actual prospect. So ask yourself, in your presentation, where do you go in on the pain? Where do you go in on the pain of the same? Where do you talk about, Mr. Customer, if you continue to do this way, this is what's going to happen. If you don't do this, this is what could happen. Is there something in your presentation, hopefully towards the beginning of your presentation, where you establish a foothold to let the customer know that you need to change, to disrupt them? Customers are not going to want to change. Customers love to stay the same. We're all like that. It's part of our human nature. Our human nature is status quo. We don't want to change. That's why salespeople exist. Our job is to create that discontent. That discontent comes from showing the customer things that they're missing out on. So my question to you is, are you showing them what they're missing out on, where they're losing revenue, how their costs are spiraling out of cost, where they're missing out on market share, where their competitors are taking market share from them? Show them what is happening because they're not keeping up, because they're not changing, why they're missing out on business. And if you do that, they're more likely to want to change, or at a minimum, listen to what you have to say. And that right there is a big step forward in the game of selling. And that is it. Leave me some feedback on this topic. Are you creating enough pain of staying the same that the customer wants to change? I want to know what you're doing. Leave it in the comments. I love to hear your feedback. And after you leave me some feedback, check out the Sales Velocity Academy. Again, we've added some great courses to help you sell more effectively faster. Now, there's over 55 courses now with over 500 videos. So go to www.salesvelocityacademy.com. That's salesvelocityacademy.com. And on that note, this is Victor Antonio, always reminding you, sell it ain't hard when you know how. Take care. Hi, I'm Victor Antonio. I'm an author, sales trainer, and keynote speaker. I'm often asked, what makes a great speaker? Is it someone who delivers real content that the audience can use? Is it someone who engages the audience so they're part of the learning experience? Or is it someone who can motivate an audience to push them beyond their comfort zone and discover new abilities? The answer is yes. But the most important thing to remember is that I'm not there to look good. I'm there to make my client look good. Simply put, it's never about me, and it's always about them.